G'day everyone, welcome home and you're watching Camping Mates. Today I'm going to show you what the hell's going on here. So I've been posting a few videos on Facebook and Instagram about little glimpse of what's happening, but I never told the extend version of the story. So long story short, I'm building a 12-volt system, and so I've got the fridge. I needed to have a secondary battery, so that's why I'm building it. It is kind of a bit of a cool setup, to be honest. It got the wireless roof lights and 900-watt inverter. It is not the best, the most state out of the Red Arc system, but it is for me more than enough to charge my batteries and camera batteries and drone batteries and stuff like that, and keep my fridge running for 24/7. So it's not finished yet. It is about 50% finished, but I've got pretty much all the gears, equipments that I needed to put in already, ready to go. But I'm waiting on few gears, few items to arrive. Obviously, due to lockdowns, everything is slowing down, so the shipping is not quite fast. Yeah, so that's out of the way. I'm going to show you everything. All right, so let's start with the brain. This is the main, what do you call it, power box, switch box, whatever you want to call it. So this is where all the wiring and fuses, DC to DC, everything got in-house. So I have carpeted the outside of this one, and I still needed to fix some stuff into it, and this is the base of it. If I take this out, this is the base for it. I made it out of 12mm plywood, and I have got numerous holes drilled, if just in case if I need to install anything in the future. So that's the base, and I have pre-drilled all the holes for everything there, so I can easily install. And if we talk about this a bit more, this is a projector lithium DC to DC charger. And this one is 12 gang fuse box, and these little red lights, they supposed to be turned on if the fuse is blown. So it's pretty nice, and then you can easily diagnose which fuse is busted. And this particular switch I assigned for my fridge, and there will be 2 power outlets on this board, which is, I'll get back to it later. And then this is Renegy, if you can see, this is Renegy battery monitor, which is incorporated with this sucker here. So this is the shunt, and this is the monitor. This is something really interesting. You probably haven't seen anything like it when you're talking about 12-volt systems. If I can focus this. So what it is a 4-channel remote control thingy. So you can remote control your lights with this when you wire through this. Should focus any minute. All right, there it is. So it's pretty interesting stuff. It's not really hard to wire. If you can get something like this, go for it. And also get 2 of this, because cheap, nasty stuff, and it's nice to have a spare one in your hand. So that's pretty much, this is the inverter that I'm going to put it in. It's a 900-watt projector ProWave inverter. Nothing too fancy. And last but not least, this is my power outlet. I've got a small junction box here, and as I said, I've got 5 touch. It's not touch, they're not high amperage switches. So I've got 1 here, and 1, 2, 3, 4 there. So 5 switches altogether. All 5 switches go through these suckers here. So these ones, Nava, 40 amp automotive relays. They're pretty good. I'm still waiting to get one relay for the system and one big fuse to go here, 150 amp. Well, that's about it, and let's get to work. Okay, so I have managed to finish or fit everything into this guy right here. So it took me a bit of time to fix everything into it because it's a custom build and I don't really know where it should go. I had a bit of a general idea what should I do with it, but then again, it is kind of gamble that you bolting stuff straight into it and then finding out it's not gonna fit in the car. So it happened to me once, so I had to move this guy just a little tad to this side. I mounted a little bit that way, so the rear wheel arch was hitting this side, if you know what I mean. So it was a bit hit and miss to get it right, but at the end of the day, I've got it finally. Pretty happy with it, so I will show you everything around it now. It's ready to go inside the car. I need to do just a small stuff to make it right. Like I need to crimp these two ends to mount to the inverter. So I'm gonna do that on this video as well. So give you a bit of a idea how to crimp. But then again, this is not a how to video. I'm not gonna go into depth of 12 volt circuitry. By saying that, in the end of the video I'm going to show you what's all the tools that I used for the project, at least most frequent used tools, so you can get a better idea if you're planning to do something like in the future. So what kind of equipment you probably need to have at your disposal. Speaking of tools, there is like when you're checking online YouTube DIY videos and stuff like that, you know somehow they made this thing to look that good in short amount of time, but you don't really know, like, and then you think, all right, I can do this. But the problem with that is people use specific tools for their project. So that's where I'm kind of helping you out with showing what kind of tools that I used for this particular project. And then I think it is better to invest in good tools, not the cheap ones, even though if you've done it once. So yeah, long story short, I will show you around it, and then in the end of the video I'll show you all the tools that I use for the project, and then you can get a bit of a better idea about it. And then hit me up with questions, and I have a few gears, and it is a bit chaotic around here, but I hope I can answer all the questions if you ask anything on the comment section. And yeah, let's get into it. Alright, so I have measured it up. I reckon somewhere around here will do the trick. So I'm gonna cut it from there and I'm gonna crimp 2 terminals into it. Let's get into it. Alright, so I'm using safety knife, box cutters, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to do is I'm going to put this cable into my cable stripper. This works a treat. Bam. Alright, so I have a few ring terminals here. So this particular one is M8. So the bolt hole is M8 to suit the M8 bolt. You can get these from J-Car if you're here in Australia, but you can buy from eBay, I guess. So I have trimmed off the wire shielding, just a little tad. And when I put it in, it nicely fits. So there is nothing, this rubber shield shouldn't be going into this bit, if that makes any sense. All right, so this is kind of perfect. And then all I have to do is crimp it. For this particular application, I'm using a hydraulic crimper. This is all from eBay, paid about 50 bucks. I am using, I reckon it's number 6 or 9, I don't know. Can't tell. So I reckon this will fit nicely in here, in this slot. So I hope it will make a very, very nice crimp. Before I put the crimp in, I like to use a bit of a heat shrink. So I'm using here, it's a bit of a fancy stuff. This is double wall adhesive heat shrink. They're just a little tad expensive, but I reckon it's worth it. So I'm putting one of these ones in to the cable and then the crimp. But the trick that I learned, I usually put this ring terminal into the crimp first. Okay, another tip, like when you're crimping, just try to, like, you will see when you, after you crimp it, it will make a little bit of a notch on these two sides. So if you line it with this spade bit, like it looks like a spade bit. So if you align it with this side, it will make a really nice, appealing crimp. Just like that. So the ring terminal inside the crimping tool, and little tad pressure there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert this into here and I'm going to crimp it. Alright, that's it. So that's the crimp, and it's not going anywhere. It's really, really in there. So see what I mean? These two notches, if you align with this spade bit here, it looks nice. Alright, so red terminal's done as well. Both of them done, and I'm gonna add a bit of a heat into it. Yeah, so that's about it. Shrink done, crimp done, happy days. So all I have to do is attach these two terminals into the projector inverter and should be fine. But I'm not gonna do it now, I'll do it later, and then I have to put a bit of corrugated tubing into it, and then I'll finish it later. But I'm gonna show you around it, and I'll show you what kind of tools that I used. And yeah, I think this video is gonna be a bit long already, so I'm not going to go into all that details. I'll do it in the next one if I can, but I'll do another video when I get my battery. It's on the water at the moment, and it will get here maybe end of this month or early next month. So I'll do a video about that battery as well, and when everything going into the car. Yeah, let's get right into it. All right, so I think you can remember all of these just a few minutes ago. I'm putting together. Okay, so let's start with this side. This is, I reckon, my input side of the system, and then basically this is my distribution side of the system, and then if you move down here, this is my output. Starting from this side, so this is my input. There's a big chunky 175 amp Anderson Connect Anderson plug, the genuine one, not the cheap eBay one. You don't really want to use something Cheap. Well, it is up to you. In my opinion, I'm using all the genuine Anderson plugs for this build. And then it comes through a 150 amp fuse. I haven't installed it yet, so this is gonna screw right in here. This is how I powered the unit for the time being. Skipping the fuse, obviously. Well, there's nothing gonna go wrong because it's just a small current running through the circuit, so nothing to worry about. So after the fuse, it's straight to a isolator switch. It's mainly, I reckon, it's just a bit of a safety spec to the 12 volt system, so you can on and off the entire system in a minute, and also you can turn the entire system off when you're not using it. Especially like for my use, I'm not going camping all the time like other people, so it's a bit of a weekend warrior, so I can turn it off. Happy days, you don't really have to worry about it. And then it's just gonna go into the fuse box. The positive gonna go into there's a shunt in there which monitors all the voltage, outputs, input, all the witchcraft there. So, and also I've got 2 Anderson plugs. So one for the fridge, I have hardwired everything to the fridge slider, and this one is for future use if I'm running a 12 volts jerry can or a travel buddy. Not really sure about that. And this guy here, this is another distribution box, so which has a couple of wires inside it, which ultimately connect to my roof light and roof power outlets. So that's this one, and all I have to do is run the wires through the roof, and then connect to this one, and we're in the business. All right, so moving on to this side of the circuit, I have this particular one for the fridge, and this is the battery monitor, Renegy battery monitor, got it from Amazon. And I don't know why I have mounted 2 lights here. It's one on this side and one on that side. So it will operate like this. And then here's the main fuse box. So hot tip for any person who's doing 12 volt system, just do it with a fuse. If you don't have a fuse, don't do it. And here's my projectile lithium DC to DC battery charger. This is my party trick for the system. This is 4 relays, and these are controlled by remote switch. So when I'm out in the camp, I can control all my roof lights through remote control. All right, moving to this side, this is another 40 amp fuse, which going to the charging terminal of the secondary battery. All right, and this is my 900 watt pure sine wave inverter. You already have seen that. And then moving into this side. Yeah, we probably went through this one already, but I'm going to run you through again. So we've got 2 SIGI plugs. So this switch controls this side of the circuit, and this switch controls this side of the circuit. And this is the remote control for my projector inverter, because that side going to be tucked in near the rear wheel well. So we can't really access this switch, and I have rerouted that through via this one, so it's easy access when you're in the back of the car. And the yellow one is solar input, and the grey one is obviously auxiliary output rated to 20 amps. Okay, before that I got something really cool for you guys. Want to show it to you before I go to the tools. Okay, so check this out. This is my fridge slider. All right, check this out. So this guy this particular thing, it's called, I think it's called a cable drag chain. I've got it from eBay, and if you can see what it does is just keep the cable inside there. Putting in and out the fridge slider, it won't go in and tangle. So I reckon that's a pretty neat trick. Okay, I have laid out everything here. So most of the tools that I used quite much frequently, thinking that you have flat heads and Phillips heads in your disposal already. And from my left hand side, this is one of the most frequently used tools, a drill, and then jumping into the crimping tool. This is very good. Just don't buy this version, they're horrible, and get something like this. Got it from Amazon. It cost me about 30 bucks, too easy. And then this is wire strippers, also from amazon.com.au. Cost me about another 30 bucks. Humble, what do you call it, safety knife, box cutter, whatever you want to call it. Very important to have one of these ones when you work in a DIY project, any DIY project. Pliers, more pliers, and soldering iron, and of course solder, and I'll have a multimeter. Well, you can have a multimeter or testing light, whatever floats your boat. You don't really have to have a multimeter. This is very basic $20 one from JCar. And then one of the most overlooked items is a heat gun. People like to use a lighter to shrink the heat shrinks, but when you're doing hundreds of heat shrinks, you really need to have a reliable source of heat. So that's why I'm using this one. Pretty useful, pretty handy. And B-clips to route the wires. And I have these rubber grommets. Didn't really use that much. I used one or two, but really nice to have in your disposal. Obviously drill bits, various sizes, and yeah, heat shrinks. Very vital equipment to your 12-volt system. I have a couple of sizes available here for different wire sizes, and corrugated conduit tubing, very important too for vehicle-based wirings. And then last but not least, I've got this guy here. You have seen it just a few seconds ago. This is the my crimping tool. Paid about 40 bucks, 40 to 50 bucks, I can't remember, from eBay. Works a trade, got a few different types of crimp heads, I don't know. Yeah, so these are the, so these are the tools that you're looking at when you plan to do your 12-volt system. In my opinion, you can get away without these or these, but it's going to be a bit of a nightmare when you're crimping something properly and stripping hundreds of wire ends. Alright, so that's about it. On that note, I'm going to get the hell out of here, and hope you get something out of it. Again, stay safe out there. Take it easy on the road. See you later.